The Dry Corridor, termed penned in 2009, a tropical dry forest region spreading from southern Mexico to Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua along the Pacific coast, about 30% of Central America. An estimated amount of 10 to 12 million people reside in the region, with the extreme weather affecting their livelihoods and food security.
This is what's known as the Dry Corridor, covering Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Over the last 10 years, this historically dry region of Central America has been hit by the effects of climate change. Extreme weather like prolonged droughts are taking its toll on the region's agriculture. Regions in the Dry Corridor experience severe drought during the El Niño Southern Oscillation cycle. For example, El Salvador has seen persistent droughts each year between 2012 and 2018, which has impacted the livelihoods of local farmers.
Si sigue así como está hoy, no, creo que me iría de nuevo, porque acá no hay trabajo. No se puede sobrevivir así como está acá en El Salvador.
To identify which farmers are experiencing significant loss, local insurance providers combine satellite data to figure out where to direct financial protection. Local insurance agencies have been using NASA data on precipitation to get a better picture of the climatic conditions in order to implement index insurance. Index insurance pays out benefits based on a predetermined index, such as the amount of rainfall in a region.
We try to assess which are the most important risks for the whole country. And in many cases, those are climate related and are aggravated by climate change. That includes more severe and more frequent droughts, and that includes also more excessive rainfall, more excessive hydrological events.
Assessing the impacts of extreme weather and individual losses all over El Salvador would incur an enormous operational cost. For these regions, that's where satellites like TRMM and GPM can make a huge difference.
When TRMM came to life a little more than 2 decades ago, it was a high-quality product that we were now able to use to determine what happened in each part of the country. The market of insurance can reach people that it didn't reach before, that it was too costly to reach before that. Now we have more than 20 years of satellite data from quality sources such as NASA, including TRMM and GPM. And now we can actually price an insurance component, an insurance product, based on the experience that we have collected through these decades and that we will continue to collect and improve in the coming years.
Can somebody provide an explanation of what El Niño is? What causes the weather problems? El Niño and climate change. Weather in the Dry Corridor is influenced by El Niño events and climate change, causing severe droughts followed by heavy rainfall and floods. ENSO impact. El Niño Southern Oscillation shifts tropical Pacific temperatures affecting global rainfall patterns.
El Niño used to occur approximately every 10 years, but with climate change, it has increased frequency, with 6 occurrences observed in just the past 2 decades. The Dry Corridor grapples with water scarcity, including extended dry periods that could last over 3 months. The frequency of storms and floods surged by 500% from 1991 through 2015. Compared to the time period of 1966 through 1990.
What are the primary causes of drought in the Dry Corridor region? Impacts. 2009 crisis. In 2009, the region experienced a water shortage, affecting 50 to 100% of crops. 2014 drought. Central America faces worst drought in 35 years in 2014. Food crisis. 5 years of drought left 1.2 million people, 25% of households, in dire need of food, aid, and resulted in a 60% loss in corn crops. Single-parent households. 7 out of 10 households facing food insecurity are single-parent households, with women as heads.
Most of the families living in the Dry Corridor region make their livelihood and rely on their survival through farming. 1/3 of the workforce in Central America is engaged in agriculture. This extreme weather leads to bad harvests, which leads to loss of incomes to these families. Families used to migrate towards the capital and urban areas with larger populations in search for better jobs. However, since the crisis, moving to those cities is no longer a viable option. Droughts and food scarcity are the leading factors causing millions of farming families to be displaced from their home countries and into the United States, looking for refuge and better economic opportunities to provide for their families.